What's up, guys? So, this week we are talking about a different topic altogether. It's a new series, but this is not just any series. I actually sat down with about 14 middle schoolers, as part of our leadership team, and I asked them a question. I said, "What do you guys want to talk about? What's on your mind?" So we sat back down and we went almost back to the drawing board, and I asked them questions like, "What do you maybe lie awake at night thinking about? Like, what's that thing that you don't want to tell your parents, but is actually like eating you up inside? What is those things?" And I actually made a custom tailored, a custom made series just because of those questions that were asked and answered when I would sit down with the middle school leadership team. So here's the thing. This week we are talking about influence. That's the whole series. It's literally named Influence. And if you guys didn't know, there's actually an invisible battle going on for your influence. There's an invisible battle going on for your influence. You're like, "I don't know about this, Jake." Check it out. Well, if you're on Instagram, raise your hand if you have an Instagram account. Okay, so a lot of you guys, raise your hand if you have a phone in general. Yeah, so you guys have all scrolled through social media at some point. It'll be Instagram. You come across maybe like a profile about makeup or something like that. It's just a girl trying to do makeup, killing the game. And you're like, "Oh, she's amazing. I love Sarah too. She's great." But then you realize, oh, wait, she's trying to influence you to buy makeup. That's how she makes her money, right? So she's trying to sell that and make sure that you are convinced that the makeup that she's selling is the best makeup of all time. Because if you get that makeup set on the right, hopefully you get a 20% discount, right? That's the idea. At least that's what I see on YouTube all of the time. Or maybe, raise your hand if you play a sport. Okay, so a lot of you guys, when LeBron James goes up for a dunk and he's wearing a swoosh on his shoe, he's telling you, if you want to be like me, wear Nikes. So here's the thing. No matter what happens, there's always people trying to get your influence, just trying to sell you something. And you might be like, "Jake, yeah, I get it, but maybe it goes deeper than you actually think." I remember in 7th grade, not a big deal, but I was into Legos. Again, don't judge me. I was into Legos, specifically Star Wars Legos. I loved Star Wars Lego. But here's the thing. It was a $75 set. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to raise this money?" So I cleaned garages. I was cleaning basements. I was mowing lawns. Like, whatever Barbara needed, like this grandma, like, I'll do. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the summer, I actually raised about $75, and I was able to buy the set. I felt pretty good about it. No round of applause. Thank you very much. But so here's the thing. How do you think I was influenced to buy this? Where do you think I saw it? A commercial, yeah. So they successfully influenced me to buy this. Now, I started realizing that there was an invisible battle for my influence so much that I decided in college I didn't want to be influenced anymore. And maybe that's you in the room. You're like, "Look, I'm not influenced. I'm the influencer." Like, people walk around, they'll be like, "I want to be like Terry. Yeah, she's cool, man. I want to be like Terry. Yeah." And yeah, I don't get influenced. That's not me. Well, that's how I thought in college. So I decided I want to be very different than everyone else. I wasn't going to be influenced. I grew out my hair. Got a man bun, feeling pretty good, looking pretty good. You know, I want to be different, right? Ariana, makes sense? All right. So, and then after that, I said, I don't want a backpack. Backpacks are just for normal people. I want to get a satchel, a man purse, a Merce. So I got a man purse so much that my friends would literally go to stores and see a mannequin wearing a satchel and Photoshop my face on a mannequin. Yeah, that's a little, that was not my best moment. That was not my best picture. I don't know why she picked that one. Maybe that's bullying. I don't know. But I decided I want to be different, and I successfully did it. I thought I was not being influenced by anything. But if you know, there was this movement happening called being hipster. And does anyone know one of the biggest principles about being a hipster? Long hair, being different, right? Just being different. And then I was like, shoot, I've been influenced the whole entire time. Like, I want to be different, but the whole hipster movement was about being different. So I was totally and absolutely influenced by my friend group, by what I saw on Instagram or Pinterest or Snapchat or TikTok or Facebook or That's all social media as I know. So I was influenced. So here's the thing. Did you know, though, that there is a spiritual battle happening for your influence? That there's a spiritual battle happening for your influence. There's a verse in the Bible, 2 Corinthians, that says this. It says, "For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds." Basically what this is saying, yeah, there's commercials out there, but really, we're not fighting the battle of the world. There's actually a battle happening between light and darkness, between heaven and hell, between God and the devil. So the question we have to answer today is this: what do we do with this information? Who do you think is going to win, the darkness or light, if you don't even know there was a battle taking place? Probably the darkness, right? And you're like, Jake, this is kind of makes sense. Let me bring it down to your level. Maybe being negatively influenced instead of positively influenced means that your friend says, hey, here's the thing, there's a party going on, and I know that girl that you like is going to be there. Why don't you come? That's negative influence. And you're like, yeah, sure, because you don't even realize that you're being influenced. Or maybe your friend's like, hey, here's a thing. There's a new thing called edibles, and I think it's really, really cool. We should definitely try one. Influence. Or maybe it's 11 p.m. at night, and you're playing Night Fort. And you know you probably shouldn't play another round, but you do anyways. That's probably being negatively influenced by your own feelings. And there's a lot more examples, but here are just some ideas of what it means to be negatively influenced. But don't worry, there's positive influence too. There's good influence out there in the world. This is what it says in Philippians 4:8-9. It says this: summing it all up, friends, I'll say, you'll do best by filling your minds and meditating on things that are true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious, the best, not the worst, the beautiful and not the ugly, things to praise and not things to curse. And if you're influenced positively, if you put this into practice, what you learned from me, what you heard and saw and realized. Basically, Paul, the author, is saying, look, if you actually can be positively influenced instead of negatively influenced, your life will be much better. You will live a way better life. So the last question that we have to answer today is this: how do we know good influence versus bad influence? What's good, positive peer pressure versus negative peer pressure, right? So here's what I want to do. I want to put on 2 words on the screen. This is going to be the answer to this issue. I'll give you the secret tool that will help you have positive influences in your life so you can become the person that God wants you to be instead of negative influences that are going to distract you and take you off track. And his 2 words is this: practice, discernment. Can you guys say that all together with me? Ready? Practice, discernment. One more time. Ready? Practice, discernment. Oh, get it. You're like, Jake, that's awesome. What the heck is discernment? Discernment is this spiritual intuition. And you know what it is. Like when you're playing at 11 p.m. at night, Fortnite, and you know you probably should go to bed because it's a weeknight, and your spiritual intuition says, dude, go to bed. That's your discernment telling you to do something, a deciding factor. But you might be still confused, so I'm going to put on a commercial, and you tell me what your discernment says to do. Let's do this.
Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement. Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
Smart. Yeah, okay.
If you're in a horror movie, you make poor decisions. That's what you do.
Shh, I'm being quiet. Breathing on me.
If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
What does your discernment say there? Get in the car. Like, get in the car. See, we all have discernment, but the thing that I need you guys to do in order to be positively influenced instead of negative is to practice discernment. You can't just say, oh, I have discernment. Like, you need to practice it. So, with that said, I have this weight because I work out all the time. Always. Just kidding. I haven't worked out for like a week and a half, but don't tell anyone. So, here's the thing. So, I do have these weights at home. This is actually a 25-pound weight because I lift huge weights. This is actually not that big of a weight. But I do bicep curls with these, okay? So, Let's say I do one bicep curl. Will that do anything? No. What if I do 3? Well, I haven't worked out for a while. Will that do anything? Kind of. What if I do 10? A little bit more. What if I do 10 every single day for a year? Raise your hand if you play sports again. Yeah, so here's the thing. If you go up to a basketball, if you go up for a layup, you need strength to go up. If you're playing volleyball, you need strength to jump up. If you're playing soccer, you need strength in your legs to kick the ball farther and faster than anyone else. If you're a sports player at some point, an athlete, strength conditioning with weights like these is a necessity. Now, the question that we have to answer is, what are the spiritual weights that we are using to make sure that we positively influence? And it's just 2 words. It's the practice discernment. Practice discernment. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but we are actually doing a new thing. I'll invite the band back up here. We're doing a new thing, and we've talked about it a little bit, Saturday nights being Mania, so just called Mania, like come to Mania. And we've also started this new thing called Fuego. And here's the thing. I'm a pastor, and to be honest, this makes my job a lot harder. Like, I have to work a lot harder to do all of these events. Me and Yasmin, Caleb, Tim, like the whole entire band, we have to work a lot harder. So why are we doing it in the first place? Why are we pastors in the first place? My vision is for you guys to be raised up, this next generation, knowing right from wrong, having good spiritual intuition where you're practicing discernment, where you're actually listening to your discernment. So at night when you're thinking negative things about yourself, I'm not really good enough. Like, I'm not nearly as cute as all my other friends. The words that I want you to say in yourself is practice discernment, and your discernment would say, dude, stop negatively thinking about yourself. And if you can do that over, just like a bicep curl, over and over and over again, at some point, you'll be more positively influenced than negatively influenced. I had a friend who's now a freshman in high school, but this was last year when he was in 8th grade, who was really struggling with school. He also got to a point where he wasn't really eating that much. He was diagnosed with depression. And I was talking to Raquel Fernandez, who was just a leader, and I was just talking to her a little bit about like what this looks like and how to help him. And then he started getting connected, yes, with church, with a couple of friends. I invited him on the leadership team, and it was so weird because at East Lake Middle, he's like, dude, I want to do like a Christian club. I'm like, oh, let me see if we already have one. We had one. I was like, what if you add and make it good? We went from 8 students to 200 students within a month, basically because of this guy. And now he's a leader. He's on the football team. He's killing it in high school ministry on Wednesday nights. Like, he's one of my favorite people in the whole entire world. But it was because he decided to practice discernment. Late at night, when he was thinking negative things about himself, he said to himself, okay, practice discernment. When he was looking for friendships that were positive instead of negative, he looked for people who were in church. He looked to get on the leadership team. He looked to hang out with me more, with Yasmin more, with Tim more. And then all of a sudden, we saw this dramatic transformation. I hope the same thing for you guys. So we created Mania on Saturday nights, a place where you can come with other awesome people your age and get connected in ways that you've never got connected before. Last night, we had 90 students here. So you best know dodgeball was lit. Like, it was awesome. And no kids got hurt, which is nice. But it was so cool. As we were singing this last song, which we will in a second, everyone just had their arms around each other, and it was super emotional, and it was really cool to see their reaction together. And I'm like, this is exactly what I was hoping for. This is what all the work of getting these lights up, of making sure this event was awesome, all of it was for that night. But here's the thing. We're not just doing one Saturday night. Next Saturday night, I think we have the graphic. We're doing cookout, so we're doing hot dogs and hangout. It's the exact same thing. We're going to have tons of students. Hopefully you get connected. Next week, we're doing Halloween, a huge Halloween party. And of course, we're doing Fuego in 6 weeks. which is a chance where you can go to another house for 2 straight nights with 8 to 10 of your friends and hang out, chill, eat good food, and come back to the church every once in a while throughout the weekend and have a guest worship leader and a guest speaker to learn how to be a difference maker. Here's the thing. All I'm asking you guys is to do 2 things. Practice discernment. And how you do that is basically to decide to come back every Saturday night. Sundays are going to be great, but what we're trying to push is for you to be with your friends, which is going to be on Saturday nights. So here's the thing. We're going to sing one last song. It's called Yes, I Will. And the idea for Yes, I Will is for you to say yes to God. It's for you to say yes to practicing discernment in your life. Saying yes to positive influences instead of negative influences. And I hope, just like my friend, you'll slowly be transformed. Why don't you guys stand up to your feet? And as we sing this last song called Yes, I Will, I want you to just be praying as you're not talking to the neighbor next to you. Are you going to say yes to practicing discernment? Are you going to say yes to coming to Mania or yes to Fuego? I hope you do, because I want you to be transformed, just like I've seen so many students do. Go ahead and bow your heads, close your eyes. I'm going to pray. God, thank you so much for all of my friends here, for Joseph, for Carlo, for Sarah, for Terry, for the Avas, for G. God, I want to thank you for their journeys. I've known these students for years now, a lot of them. But God, I pray that we are launching this next generation into good discernment, launching this next generation into a life in which they're living for you, God. Raising up the next generation where they have good and positive friends, where they're living a life of color instead of living a life of depression. God, we pray all of these things in your name. God, I pray that during this next song, that every single student here will say, yes, I will. Yes, I will to you, God. Yes, I will to practicing good discernment. And yes, I will to the life that you want me to live. God, we pray all this in your name. Amen.
Count on one thing, the same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the way